Hi everyone, Petrik here. So for today's video, it will be something that I've done on this channel twice before. So this will be the third time I'm making this video. It will be about my favorite smaller booktube channels. So for those of you who haven't watched my two previous videos on this will be where I recommend you to check out 5 smaller booktube channels. All of them currently has less than 2,000 subscribers, so this is where I recommend you to check them out because I think they're great. Yeah, I think a lot of smaller booktube channels are great, and if possible, I want to give a spotlight to them every few months. Usually every 4 or 5 months I try to do this once, and I am really glad to see that all 5 people I recommended on my first shoutout video, all of them now has more than 2,000 subscribers. I don't know whether my shoutout video actually helped or not, but either way, I'm really happy for them, and I hope that all of them, every one of them, I hope that their channel will always grow. I think it's always great to give back to the community whenever you can, and one of the reasons why my channel grew more faster than I expected is because a lot of bigger booktube channels actually gave me shoutout as well. And so this is kind of like my idea to give back to the smaller booktube channels that I have enjoyed watching, even though I don't always comment on them, but I have enjoyed watching their videos. Seriously, if you're a reviewer or content creator, I think you will know that one of the hardest things about creating your own platform is that, well, the initial boost is one of the hardest things to create, and if possible, even though I don't always have the time, I want to be able to help as many booktubers as I can. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to recommend 5 people for you to check out here. The first one that I want to recommend is Dion. Yeah, I really enjoyed chatting about books with Grace. I think she has great taste in books. After all, she really loved Jade Legacy, and people who love the Greenbone Saga, in my opinion, already has great taste in fantasy. Yeah, that's already a plus for me. And honestly, there is something about Grace videos that I found to be so relaxing. Yeah, I found her videos to be relaxing, and sometimes I play them on background as I clean my bookshelves. But the biggest reason why I recommended Grace is that I think she's a really nice person. Here's the thing, when you talk about books, I think books are really subjective experience. It is a very emotional thing. I know that we can get very attached to books. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, quite often really, it can be really hard. Yeah, sometimes it can be really hard to actually talk about books we dislike to people who actually like those books, and vice versa. But this is exactly why I love talking about fantasy books with Grace. For example, for The Fall of Babel, I think you all know by now that The Fall of Babel is one of the most disappointing books that I've ever read. So we were reading The Fall of Babel together, and Grace liked it more than I did, but she never once bashed my opinion on it. Yeah, she never once bashed my opinion on it. She could accept that I didn't like The Fall of Babel as much as she did, and I think that's a really great thing. It's always great to find someone who loves the same kind of fantasy books as you do, but at the same time, we always have to remember that none of us are the same person. There will be some books that we disagree with, and it's always a great experience when we can talk about books, not just on books that we both like, but also on books that we dislike. So yeah, do check out Grace's channel. And then the second one that I want to recommend here is Dom from Dominic Books. So I think some of you may have seen that I just recently did a review on Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. It is one of the best debut that I've read, one of the best fantasy debut that I've read. Yeah, it is fantastic, and you know what? Dom has actually reviewed it earlier than I did. So the thing about Dom from Dominic Books is that he reviewed quite a lot of underrated fantasy books. Yeah, quite a lot of underrated fantasy books and underrated fantasy series. And in my opinion, he did a great job in reviewing those books. Seriously, just check out his video on why you should read The Shadows of the Abt by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is a series that I don't think I heard about this series quite often, but every time I heard about this series, people who have read this series actually enjoyed it very much. One day I will read this series, and this video is partly responsible for it. And I'm not gonna lie, Dom's constant praises for Illborn is one of the reasons why I finally decided to read Illborn, and I'm really glad that I did. There is, however, a second person that's so influential in affecting the decision for me to finally read Illborn, and that's Library of Viking. Now, the Library of Viking has been on Booktube for only for about 2 weeks. Yeah, so he is a very new channel, but he has been active on Bookstagram for more than a year now. I think it's more than a year. Not only on Bookstagram, but also on Twitter. I mainly interacted with him on Bookstagram and also on Twitter. But yeah, he's been active in the fantasy community for more than a year now. And now he finally has his own Booktube channel. And even though he only has 3 videos out so far, in my opinion, he already did a much better job in his early videos than I did. I cringed I really cringed when I saw my early videos. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Yeah, just like Dom, he constantly praised Illborn, and I think both of them are very influential in affecting my decision to finally read Illborn. And again, just like Grace, Library of Viking also loved the Greenbone Saga series. I think Jade Legacy was his favorite book of 2021. And as I said earlier, those who love the Greenbone Saga, in my opinion, has great reading taste. The fourth booktuber that I want to recommend is honestly quite a surprise for me that she hasn't reached 2,000 subscribers yet. So this is Johanna. I think if you're active in watching fantasy booktubes, I think you will see Johanna's comments somewhere because she's very active in commenting on many booktubers videos, and I'm really amazed that she has the time to actually comment on so many videos, considering that she also made a lot of great videos. Just check out her reviews and thoughts on each book in Malazan Book of the Fallen. Now, you all know that Malazan Book of the Fallen is one of the most complex fantasy series out there, and it is, in the matter of scope, is quite likely the most epic fantasy series of all time. It is definitely the most epic fantasy series that I've read so far, and she has a lot of great insights on each book in the series. If you haven't checked out Johanna's channel yet, I highly recommend you to check it out. Finally, the last booktube channel that I want to recommend here is Jessie the Sleepy Koala. Yeah, isn't that such a great name? So Jessie the Sleepy Koala, her channel is about, I think, 5 months old. 4 or 5 months old. But the reason why I recommend her channel is that she's a huge fan of Brandon Sanderson's books. And for those of you who don't know, even though I don't always talk about Brandon Sanderson's books on my channel, Brandon Sanderson and the Cosmere universe is one of the best things in fantasy, in my opinion. Yeah, it is one of my favorite things in fantasy, and as I said, even though I don't make a lot of Brandon Sanderson's contents on my YouTube channel, but honestly speaking, even though a lot of booktubers are creating their contents based on Cosmere and Brandon Sanderson's books, understandably, because there are a lot of contents that can be created from Brandon Sanderson's books, I still always enjoy watching people being passionate about the books that I love, and I still always enjoy watching people being passionate about Brandon Sanderson's books. And I think Jessie, the Sleepy Koala, I think her passion for Brandon Sanderson's books are very genuine, and I really love watching them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. If you haven't checked out any of the 5 booktubers that I just mentioned, I highly recommend for you to check them out and make your own decision whether their content are suitable for you or not. So yeah, that's it for me today. The next video on this channel will be my 5 stars prediction. Quite a lot of people are asking me to do this video. I don't think I've ever done this video, so let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, that's it for me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye.